that Hawthorn is a clear front runner for the Eagles stopper services. We know the Hawthorn coach, Sam Mitchell, fellas flew west to meet with Tommy Barrass over in Perth, have a face-to-face discussion, and those talks have obviously gone well because tonight the Hawks are in the box seat for Tom Barrass, edging out the Western Bulldogs. Now, West Coast is yet to commit to this deal. In fact, they might take their arm to be wrestled in this, but any deal would have to involve Hawthorn's first-round pick. That's currently pick number 10 for this deal to be done. But I'm thinking it is going to be the Hawks for Tom Barrass. Macca, this is a huge boost for Sam Mitchell.
It'd be massive for Sam Mitchell and for the Hawthorn Football Club. He was so disappointed they missed out on Ben Mackay last year. I remember having a chat to him in the pre-season. It was just after James Blank went down. He knew he was one short down there. And I think in this situation, Tom Barrass might be an upgrade on Ben Mackay. Ben Mackay I think he is. Premiership player. Like, he's a very, very good player. He's 2 years older than Ben Mackay, but he comes in at a time when Hawthorn need that strong defensive unit down back. I think it's a great move, and I think Sam Mitchell will be very happy with that.
And it could get even better for the Hawks because this might be a 1-2 punch for Sammy Mitchell. Not just Tommy Barrass, but they are elbow deep into Josh Battle from St Kilda as well. And the important news here, guys, is that Hawthorn has the salary cap room after planning cleverly over the past 24 months to land Tommy Barrass as well as Josh Battle, which would be an absolutely huge upgrade for the Hawthorn backline, which was a problem last year. They did concede, I think, the third or fourth most points in the competition. But what this is all saying for me is that Hawthorn is really looming as a destination club. We're seeing the fun, the flair, the flamboyance on field. They're surging up the ladder, 8 wins out of the last 9 games, and they're looming very attractively for Tommy Barrass. But it's not the first time, Sammy, that he's had to make a pretty difficult call in his future.
Fascinating few years for Tommy Barrass. Sydney went after him pretty hard a few years ago. That deal didn't get done last year. The Barrass camp reached out to Sydney and said, it didn't work last time, can you make me a Swan? They were all in, they loved the idea, they were ready to part with their first-round pick. Then Barrass did a U-turn, he didn't want to go. Sydney wasn't thrilled with that.
So it was messy, wasn't it?
It was messy. This year, the Western Bulldogs have gone hard. Tom Barrass has said in the media, no, I'm here to stay. Now he's met with Sam Mitchell. So it's been a really fascinating couple of years for Tom Barrass. The Swans have missed out. Now it looks like the Dogs have missed out. But they might have found their Tom Barrass in Rory Lobb, so it might not matter too much for them.
So where does it leave the Bulldogs? Because we know they needed the defensive upgrade. They've been very keen on Tommy Barrass as well. At the moment, you mentioned a Rory Lobb who looks like Glenn Jakovic in the back line. Do they have to try and bring in someone else, or have they got enough stock down back?
I think they could get by for another 12 months without someone. I mean, Liam Jones will play good footy again next year, you would expect. So I think it might be a priority maybe in a couple of years, but it's not as pressing given the resurgence of Rory Lobb. It's been a remarkable story of Rory. That's changed the complexion of their off-season.
Matthew Croft coming for Jordan Croft, Matthew Croft's son, as well as Jed Buslinger coming through, so their development will be important. What about the Eagles? So they've currently got pick 3, it seems. If they get pick 10 from the Hawks, that gives them 2 top 10 picks. Now, this is a difficult decision for them, but for mine, a club which hasn't had a lot of top young talent come through, this is an opportunity for the new recruitment team to get some quality talent. Is it a no-brainer for West Coast?
I think it is, but I can understand why they'd play hardball and they'd say, no, we're holding him, because that will inflate Barrass's value. But last year they finished last, clearly. They were that far the worst team. They got pick 1, Harley Reid. Their second pick wasn't until, the 30s or something. So they really haven't got that that quantity of early picks just yet. I think them, like Richmond with Bolton and Rioli and Baker, they've got an opportunity here in what is a really strong draft. There's 25 really good players in this draft to really unload, get multiple first-round picks and go bang. And there's your rebuild.
Will be a big story if the Hawks can land a couple of big fish, but it's been a big day for the Hawks. Mac, a new deal for Connor Nash. You got details on who their next priority is.
Yeah, absolutely. The good news everywhere you look out there at Waverley. It'll soon be Destination Dingley. We said that a few weeks ago here. CJ is the next one in the gun, absolutely, to get that contract done. CJ, his body was an issue through earlier part of this year, and they wanted to wait. Both he and the club wanted to wait until later in the year to get a bit of game under his belt. He's had 10 in a row now, so that they are ramping up those contract negotiations now. So you can tell that it will be done very soon. Well, by the end of this year,
they're not losing CJ.
They're not losing CJ, but he wanted to make sure that his body was right. They wanted to make sure his body was right, and he's been able to now prove how important he is in that team.
The really interesting thing for me in all this and Hawthorn's recruiting is the heavy involvement of the coach, Sam Mitchell. So he's flying west to have fish and chips with Tommy Barrass. His fingerprints are all over their moves. You mentioned Mackay. He was so keen on them. So are we comfortable? Take us inside what it would be like in the Hawthorn Football Club. How would the machinations play out? Is it okay for the coach to be leading the recruiting missions?
I'm super comfortable with it because I know that he has always had a long and strong interest in list management, and he's doing it in consultation with the rest of the group there. That is where I can see a big smile on Sammy's face there. He's a star.
He learned from the Masters, didn't Alistair Clarkson fly to Miami to meet Carlisle back in the day? But look, I think it's not only it's not only rival players. You see him on draft night. He's in the bunker. That invested in every name they read out. It's almost him calling the names out. But I think he does it the right way. I think there is a collaboration approach. I think at other clubs, when coaches try and step on toes in recruiting, it can cause issues. It can be political issues there. Some coaches have a shorter-term lens. They want the sugar hit of a state league player, whereas recruiters have a longer-term view. But I reckon Sam goes about it in the right way.
It's interesting, I think clubs targeting and speaking face-to-face with rival players previously taboo. We know it blew up over Lin Jong when he toured the
broke the story, Clarky.
Facility. I think we're getting our heads around, these discussions. They do happen. And sometimes they get out to the public, right? Been a massive story over the past 48 hours.